Alright, Shalom. All praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kodash, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to all the hopeful, elect, and sincere brothers that's doing the work of the Lord in sincerity and in truth. Now, Lord will is going to be a quick lesson. Lord will is edifying on on Jamaica, the country Jamaica, getting rid of their banknotes. They're essentially getting rid of cash to forward in the digital currency because the NWO, the 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 Great Reset, to reset the currency, to get rid of the money, the physical money, is not just gonna happen in Babylon the Great, which is America. It's not just gonna happen here, and it's not also just gonna happen in the EU countries, or in the NATO countries, or in the BRICS countries. It's gonna happen all over the world. That's why it's called NWO. If you know the acronym, then you know what I mean. There's gonna be a world order. That's why um that's why it's a push for digital currency all over the world, because all these leaders, sold out. All these world leaders, these prime ministers, these presidents, they sold out, and they're working for, and they're under the control of Esau. The Esau, I'm talking about the so-called white man, but preferably the elite banking families, and their plans for hundreds of years have been to to gain control over the whole world, over the whole earth, and and that's gonna be by their NWO. To centralize everything. To make uh let me just get it. Centralize, so I won't have to guess. Centralized definition of an activity or organization controlled by a single authority or managed in one place. So they want to gain control of of all the world's activity, dealing with currency, dealing with dealing with records, dealing with security, dealing with food, but mainly dealing with currency and records. And that's what the MOTB is about. The digital currency push, making everything digital, is really to forward in the MOTB, because that's that's what this whole thing is about. Of this them trying to get rid of cash, them trying to get rid of physical money. The whole digital currency push is really to get the world to accept the MOTB. At first, it's gonna be a choice, and then it's gonna be a mandate. It's gonna be mandatory. It's gonna be by force. It's gonna be by force of the law. But when it's presented to you, especially if you're Israelite, and you have faith, you believe in Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai, it's gonna be presented to you. But the elect won't bow down to Satan and take his mark. Because if you take the MOTB, that means that you are, you're saying that you gave up on Yahweh Shemi Shai, and that you you don't belong to the Lord anymore. You're pledging allegiance to Satan, to the so-called white man, and that you are a slave under Satan or the so-called white man. Satan means adversary, and the so-called white man rules the world under the vibration of Satan. That's why everything is demonic and lewd, and there's nakedness everywhere. And food is destroyed. There's GMOs. You know, they want everyone to eat lab meat and bugs, and everything is just demonic and satanic, and they want to have control over everything. That's a vibration of Satan, and there's witchcraft everywhere. But it's only for a period of time. Yep. Because Esau's rulership is coming to an end soon. So let me get the scriptures and the article, and let me finish out the video. Centralized of an activity or organization controlled by a single authority or managed in one place. So they're planning to centralize payments. First they have to make it digital, and then when they make it digital, they could centralize it. They could bring payments, bring the payment system under one control. That's what the CBDC is about. This central banking digital currency, and that's gonna be heavily monitored. So you're gonna have no privacy, and they're always gonna know what you're doing because they want to be like the Most High. And once you have that mark, and once you have that MOTB, then you're locked into the system, and you can't repent from it. So if you're an Israelite, so-called Negro, Latino, Native American, don't take the MOTB. But the elect won't. But the 2/3, the 2/3 will give up on the Lord and take the MOTB. What am I typing? 2 Corinthians 2:11. 2 Corinthians 2:11. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. Yes, so started with Satan, the spiritual demon Satan. Unless Satan should get an advantage over us, Satan is not Satan does not have the advantage over the elect, because the Lord hath revealed his secrets unto his servants the prophets. The Lord has opened our eyes to what's really going on. So therefore that means that we have eyes to see what's going on. So we can't get trapped in Satan. We can't get trapped by Satan's snares. The most important test and the snare is that MOTB, which if you don't get that, that means you're not gonna be locked into the system. That means you won't be able to buy or sell, which means you're gonna solely rely on faith in Yahweh Shemi Shai. If you're part of the elect and you're enduring to the end, that is. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, and then Satan represents the so-called white man, because so-called white man rules the world under the vibration of Satan, and they worship Satan. That's why they want to outlaw the Bible, and they want to make preaching the Bible anti-sem, if you know what I mean. For we are not ignorant of his devices. Ignorant mean not to know. So we know of his devices, of his evil thoughts and his wicked plans. And one of those, the main one, is the NWO. So they want to dystopian society where man is merged with machine and they have full control over everybody, full control over the money, the currency, over everybody's records, the cars. You know, is going to be controlled by them because they want the cars to be electronic, the vehicles, and with the vehicles being fully electronic, that means that they can monitor it and they could shut it off or shut it on whenever they please. You know, by remote control. For we are not ignorant of his devices. So the NWO won't fully come to pass. Most High is going to cut it short. Now, this is the article. This is from Jamaica Observer. I believe it's a news. It's a Jamaica news site. Jamaican news site. Old cotton banknotes will not be legal tender as of July 1st, which is this year, 2025. And right now we're in April, so we got a couple of months until that happens. So they're pushing they're pushing for digital currency to be in effect. And the EU wants to push and make everything digital and get rid of physical money by October, I believe. That's when they plan to do it. But it says the Bank of Jamaica (BOJ) has advised that effective July 1st, 2025 of this year, the old cotton banknotes comprised of 5,000. So these are the bills because the economy of Jamaica is not very good, and then the value of the money down there is not very good. So that's why you have such high bills, and it's all done by the IMF, by the elite banks, by UK and America. So like through UK and America, Esau. Banknotes comprised of the $5,000 bill. For example, $1 in Jamaica is like 100 and something dollars, and then one. Let me look it up. $1 in Jamaica is $158, right? That's going into like an economic hitman where these Edomites send their what do you call it, like a hitman, so to speak, to go into these different countries and to destroy the economy. It's very bad, what these people do. Esau is very corrupt. He's wicked. He's a snake. $1 in Japan, 142 yen. So now you get the picture. That's why you see a $5,000 bill. Just a couple of years ago, it wasn't like that. Just a couple of years ago, I believe in like 2006 or 2008, $1 was like 60 something, either 60 something or 80 something. But now it's all the way up to 150. Comprised of the $5,000 note. That's the bank note. That's the paper bill. $5,000 bill. As you see, it's up here in the picture. You have $50, $100, $500, $1,000, and then you have $5,000. Comprised of the $5,000, $1,000, $500, $100, and $50 denominations, is all seen right here, will no longer be legal. It means that the banknotes cannot be used for transactions for goods and services, the BOJ said in a press release. So it cannot be used for transactions. Transactions going into buying and selling. Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices. So Satan doesn't have the one up on us. See, advantage. Let me look it up. Advantage meaning. Advantage meaning. It says advantage is the meaning, a condition or circumstance that puts one in a favorable or superior position. And it says upper hand, lead, edge, head, trump card. So Satan is not in a superior position than us. We know what's going on with them. You know, the Lord put us, spiritually, by blessing us with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the scriptures, by blessing us with the understanding of the prophecies, and we could break it down through, precept upon precept, line upon line, here a little, there a little. So we actually have the advantage over them, over the wicked elites, over Satan, over Esau. So we actually have the advantage over them because the Lord is dealing with his prophets. Revelation 13 and 16, as he calls it, and he calls it all that he is a so-called white man, because the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The Lord gave control and rulership of the earth into the hand or the power of the so-called white man. Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So that mean he, Esau, is going to cause all. That means all people on the earth. Everybody's going to be tested with this. Not just the elect, not just the prophets, not just the believers of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, but everybody. All Israelites, all people that's in Babylon or America, all the people all over the world is going to be tested with this. But the real test is going to be for the Lord's elect, which the elect will pass. Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. So it doesn't matter if you have status in this world, or you're just a regular average Joe. Whether you're rich or whether you're poor, whether you have money, whether you make six figures, or you're a millionaire, or whether you're poor, free and bond, whether you're locked up in prison or in jail, or you're in the outside world, free to roam society, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that mark is going into charagma, right? Charagma, a stamp and a printed mark. It says a thing carved, sculpture, graven work. It says down here, a scratch or etching, stamp. So a graven mark. And when you grave something, let's say you want to engrave something in a wood or in a stone, where you take a knife or a piece of metal and then you engrave it, you carve it out, right? So this is gonna be engraven into you, and it's gonna be by a reed or a needle. It's gonna be a stamp. It's gonna be a mark, because when you get that mark, that's gonna tie to the system, and that mark is gonna show that you belong to the devil, you belong to the so-called white man. And when you go to the root word of that, it's karax, karax, a pale or a stake, a palisade. Now, a pale or a palisade. Let's see, no, stake, palisade. Wood. Let me see. Just look up wood fencing. So this is that's it right there. Like a that's it. That's it. That's a palisade. And steak, not beef, not beef. This is a steak. So it's gonna be pricked into you, right? It's gonna be pricked into you. And the mark, the MOTB, the RFID CHIP looks like this. But yeah, it's gonna be pricked into you. Now when you go into that root word, it's grapho, which is going into writings or records, right? Now it's going into writings or records because all your records is gonna be on the RFID CHIP. All your records, especially going into buying and selling, making transactions, you know, your 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 debit card or your tap that you used to tap on your phone, it's not gonna be by a phone or a debit card anymore. It's gonna be by biometrics. Banks are introducing that right now. Chase Bank, they're introducing uh, the the concept, or the what do you call it? Not concept, but the way of paying is gonna change. They're moving away from debit and credit cards. Now they're going into biometrics, meaning life. The body, meaning uh, you're gonna pay using your body, whether it be by fingerprint, palm swipe. You know, then it's gonna go into having the RFID CHIP inside of you, whether your right hand or your forehead. That's how you're gonna make transactions, and without that, you'll be locked out of the system. Um, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So right here it says it means that the banknotes cannot be used for transactions for goods and services, said the BOJ said in a press release, and that's what transactions is: buying and selling, and that no man might buy or sell, make transactions, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom: let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 600 threescore and 6. So that's the number, and that goes back to the UPC code, or the barcode technology. When you go to a store, supermarket, whatever, you pick up a product to buy, it has those lines on the back, and those lines are scanned. In the beginning, the middle, of the end, it has two lines, and they each represent 6. That's where you get the 666. It says 600, three score is 60, and then you have 6. That's 666. And that's the technology that's going to be in the MOTB, to be able to make transactions, to be able to buy or sell. And also it's going to have all your records on it, your drive, your your driver's license, your he's dealing with medical information. Your That's gonna be an actual key to open up your car doors and to get into buildings and to get into your apartments and to open your apartment door or whatever. That's what that's going into. And Lord will, that's the end of the lesson. I just thought this was interesting that these countries are setting a date to cut off or to stop using physical money, to stop using cash, which each country already have their own version of digital currency set up already. And that's the end of the lesson. Lord was edifying. All praises, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh Basham Yahushai Basham Akakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Shalom.